Hello, and welcome to LSET Tech Bite. Today, we're diving into the world of web development, where we'll be learning how to create a simple CAPTCHA generator using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. CAPTCHAs are those little puzzles you often encounter online that help verify whether you're a human or a bot. Let's start by looking at the HTML code. At the very top, we have the doc-type HTML declaration, which specifies that this document is an HTML5 document. Next, we have the opening HTML tag indicating the start of our HTML document, with the lang attribute set to N for English. Moving on, we have some meta tags inside the head section. These meta tags define the character encoding as UTF-8, ensuring proper handling of special characters. The viewport meta tag is crucial for responsive web design, as it sets the width of the viewport to the device's width and scales it accordingly. Then we have the title tag, which sets the title of our web page to CAPTCHA generator. This is what will appear on the browser tab. Now, let's move on to the body section. Inside the body, we have a div element with the class container, which serves as the main container for our content. Within the container, there's another div with the class wrapper. Inside this wrapper, we have a canvas element with the ID canvas. This canvas is where we'll generate the CAPTCHA image. Next to the canvas, we have a button with the ID reload button. This button will allow users to reload or regenerate the CAPTCHA image if they're having trouble reading it. Below the wrapper, we have an input field with the ID user input. This is where users will enter the text they see in the CAPTCHA image. Finally, we have another button with the ID submit button. Users will click this button to submit their input and validate the CAPTCHA. Next, we link to external style sheets using the link tag. We're using Font Awesome for some icons, which is hosted on a CDN, meaning Content Delivery Network, so we don't need to download it locally. Additionally, we link to our own custom style sheet named style.css, which we'll use to style our CAPTCHA generator. At the end of the body, just before the closing body tag, we include a script tag that links to our JavaScript file named script.js. This is where all the magic happens, where we'll write the code to generate the CAPTCHA image and handle user input. Now that we've covered the HTML structure of our CAPTCHA generator, it's time to dive into the CSS styling to make our translator visually appealing. Starting with the CSS code, we have a universal selector where we're setting some baseline styles. We're resetting margins and padding to 0, ensuring consistent spacing across different elements. The box sizing property is set to border box, which includes padding and border in the element's total width and height calculations. Also, we're specifying a fallback font stack of Arial, Helvetica, sans serif for all text elements. Moving on to the body, we're setting the background color to a dark shade of gray to create a visually pleasing contrast with our content. Inside the container class, we're defining styles for the main container of our CAPTCHA generator. It has a fixed width of 430 pixels, a white background, some padding, rounded corners, and a subtle box shadow for a 3D effect. This container is centered on the page using Margin Auto and has some spacing from the top to maintain visual balance. Within the container, the wrapper class is used to style the wrapper around the CAPTCHA canvas and reload button. It's a flex container, allowing its child elements to be positioned horizontally with space between them. This ensures the canvas and reload button are evenly spaced and aligned. The canvas ID styles the canvas element where the CAPTCHA image will be displayed. It has a light gray border with rounded corners to match the container's design. The button reload button styles the reload button. It's given a larger font size, a square shape, a dark background color, rounded corners, and white text. Additionally, it has a cursor set to pointer to indicate interactivity. Moving to the input field, we're setting a reasonable font size, padding, a light gray border, and rounded corners. When focused, the border color remains the same, but the outline is removed to maintain a clean look. Finally, the button submit button styles the submit button. It spans the full width of its container, has a dark background color, white text, rounded corners, and a slightly larger font size. It also has a cursor set to pointer for interactivity. Now that we've designed the layout and styled our CAPTCHA generator, it's time to add the functionality using JavaScript. Let's break down the JavaScript code that will power our CAPTCHA generator. Starting with the JavaScript code, we'll begin by declaring variables to access various elements of our CAPTCHA generator. We have submit button, user input, canvas, and reload button, which will be essential for handling user interaction and generating CAPTCHA images. Next, we define a constant named text generator, which is a function responsible for generating random strings to be displayed as CAPTCHA. Inside this function, we use a loop to generate a random alphanumeric string of 3 characters. We also have a helper function called randomNumber, which generates a random number within a specified range. The drawStringOnCanvas function is responsible for drawing the generated string onto the canvas. It clears any previous content on the canvas and then iterates over each character of the string, randomly assigning color and position for each character. The trigger function is called to initialize the CAPTCHA generation process. It resets the user input field, generates a new random string, shuffles its characters, and then draws it onto the canvas using the drawStringOnCanvas function. We set up an event listener on the reload button to trigger the trigger function whenever the button is clicked. This ensures that users can generate a new CAPTCHA if they're having trouble reading the current one. Additionally, we use the window.onload event to automatically trigger the trigger function when the page finishes loading, ensuring that a CAPTCHA is displayed right away. Finally, we set up an event listener on the submit button when clicked. It checks if the user input matches the generated CAPTCHA text. If it does, an alert with the message success is displayed. If not, an alert with incorrect is shown, and the trigger function is called again to generate a new CAPTCHA. And there you have it with our JavaScript code in place. Our CAPTCHA generator is now fully functional. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe for more web development tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.